Welcome, dear Thriver, to Thriver TV. Today, I feel really inspired to share with you the 5 steps to break painful patterns. And I know that this could be really powerful for you to help you really get back in charge of your life, because you're going to be able to make a shift from the life that you're having to the one that you truly do want to live. And to me, this is now so important. In fact, it's vital, because life as we know it is breaking apart, it's collapsing, but underneath it all, and I know a lot of you sense it, a new life is forming. There really feels like there's a ravine to leap across at the moment, and if we don't make the leap, we might fall down into it. So is it just me who's feeling like this? I don't believe it is, because so many of you have been reaching out. You've been reporting this to my latest blog article, a lot of you really related to. And I really think what it is our old ways of operating are becoming painful. Old relationship issues are becoming unbearable. And maybe the way is that you might have been avoiding your pain, trying to use pastimes, distractions, or addictions to try to numb out the pain, just aren't cutting it anymore. They're just not working. So the following information about breaking any pattern in your life, regardless of whether it seems like it's your personal skirmish or it's happening to you from the outside, no matter what it is, this works, these 5 steps, if you apply them. And the reason why it works is because it peels everything back to the quantum truth, meaning what's really going on at the deepest levels of creation on this pattern, so that you can make the necessary changes right at your core. So let's leap into this, shall we? Into these 5 steps. So the first step, step number 1, is acknowledge that this pattern is not just something random or happening to you because of others. And this initial step is about taking your power back. None of the other steps work unless you take this step. It's the acknowledgement that you are a divine creator and that life is happening through you. And this is not about assigning blame or fault to yourself. It's about being conscious and taking your power back, realizing that it's fruitless to try to change 8 billion other people on the planet, or even any one of those 8 billion people, because the only person that you have the power to change is yourself. Okay, so step number 2. Stop trying to logically work out this pattern by examining others or trying to hold them to account or gathering more information about what happened to you and what your trauma symptoms are because of what's happened in your life. Because this pattern is playing out and manifesting through your limbic system, your emotional, deep, unconscious inner programs. The core of it is not in your mind. The obsessive thinking about it is a symptom of the dense energy that's trapped inside of you. So think of your pattern as trauma energy in your body, which is causing you to play out and manifest more of the same. The releasing of this emotional energy and replacing it with the higher self-truth energy, which is literally known as the light, and we're going to talk more about that soon, is how you shift deeply from the inside out of old patterns. Quantum healing techniques start a healing process from within that can heal what logically we can't heal. And once you start working with these deeper somatic inner program tools, you'll wonder how you tried to heal previously with thinking, talking, and researching. Okay, so step number 3 is clean up your past energy on this pattern. So this is where the inner work is really vital. Can you imagine if you had a deep infection and you just tried to clean up the surface of it, but you never healed the deep inner abscess? It's just going to get reinfected. It'll come back. Just as chopping down a tree and leaving the root system will make it reinstate itself. The same is true with your inner trauma. What is required to clean up the original traumas, which have been in repeat, is addressing your inner emotional energy system. The core, the roots, the branches. And doing this correctly is not about head work and examining and revisiting. The same is true with your inner trauma. What actually is required is to clean up the original traumas that have been in repeat at the core within your inner emotional energy system. So it's the core, it's the roots, it's the branches. Doing this correctly is not about head work, which is really examining and revisiting what these core wounds and these offshoots could be. Because if you do that logically through talk therapy and through research, it only cements what has happened to you and never actually removes it to give you an up level from it. Deep inner work is somatic energy work, and what it does is it reaches, it loads up, and it releases trauma energy from the deep caverns of your inner being with visualization processes that speak to the subconscious to allow you to do this. Quantum Freedom Healing does this work effectively and quickly. All right, so let's move on to step number 4. It's about being very clear about what your pattern is and no longer participating in it. So as an example, do you hook up with unavailable people? So if somebody who shows up in your life starts being missing in action, stop spending time with them. Stop making excuses for them. Have you been repeatedly sexualized by people on dating sites? Has that been your pattern? If it happens, block and delete these people and move on. Don't give it your energy or your focus. If you know when you're emotionally triggered, that your go-tos are things like addictive substances and pastimes and ways to try to numb out, self-medicate yourself out of the pain, stop doing those things. Instead, meet the inner trauma and release and heal from where it's really going on inside of you. Because you can't have it both ways. You can't keep participating in granting your energy to things that you want to stop having as patterns in your life so that you can ascend beyond them. You can't take the drug of your old pattern whilst trying to give it up. It doesn't work that way. Just like if you want an incredible life, you can't swan around with distractions and filling your life up with meaningless things that are not developing and growing you and think it's going to happen. And let's get very clear, doing the inner work to heal and evolve yourself is not meaningless. Okay, so you may think that saying no to things that are showing up in your life that frustrate and trigger you by fighting back and engaging with it is pushing it away, but it's actually bringing it into your energy field. And it is like you're saying yes to it. So a simple example is having conversations and interactions with somebody treating you disgracefully, and then you continue to obsess about it and you talk to other people about it and you smear them and you keep it going in your life. Whereas you can just simply state your truth, detach and move on to what and who is more respectful and healthy for your life. Step number 5, Welcome the showing up of the pattern in your life again. And a lot of people really mistake this because people think that the old pattern showing up is the evidence that you haven't healed on the inside in relation to this. It's like people commonly declare, why are narcissists still showing up in my life again? I can't be healed. Why are they? Because you need to physically graduate beyond them. It's all part of the healing and the growth. You are a spirit, a soul, a being inside a physical experience. Your inner and your outer worlds are incredibly important and they integrate intrinsically. You need the graduation on the inner level, which is this thing no longer triggers me or makes me obsess about it. I know it's not my reality. I'm very clear and I'm not choosing it. I just move on. I say no, I move on. But to do this, you need the outer world graduation as well. Meaning, I'm not going to resent this thing showing up in my life because this time I'm going to do it differently. I'm going to make a different choice that I normally couldn't. I'm not going to engage. I'm not going to fall into cognitive dissonance and do what used to be familiar and make excuses for it. I am now relishing the opportunity to be awake, to get empowered, to make different choices and manifest a different outcome for myself. So an example of this is you've been doing the inner work on narcissistic abuse and you find yourself on a date with a narcissist. Now this time you can say to yourself, I can be myself. I can show up without fear. I'm not hooked in. I can identify this person is self-absorbed and they're love bombing me. And I'm going to say no thanks without any pain or fear. Yippee! Now I know I can totally look after myself come what may. What incredible power and confidence comes from a graduation like that. Or maybe you start seeing somebody who's unavailable. Now this time you lay boundaries. You state the truth of what you need and deserve in your life and what you will accept. They don't step up. They make excuses. And you say, no thanks. No, not for me. And then you are punching the air with excitement of your real life graduation. There's no pain, obsession, there's no loss. You dodged a bullet. And you're not going back and over again. Maybe I was too harsh. Maybe I shouldn't have laid that boundary. You just love the fact that you're no longer playing into your old pattern. Because you know that you are now ascending and you are creating different trajectories with your life. As the divine creator you are, you have now said to Source, this is who I am, this is my vibrational reality, and this is where I play in my deservedness. And then you will be presented with the matches of such. So in conclusion, your old painful patterns were this: old, stuck, unresolved trauma from your past that you were still participating in and remaining stuck in that trajectory of experience from that dense energy inside of you. That's what was going on. So this way, these 5 steps, as I promised you at the beginning, which is clearing the inner trauma program with the inner work, stopping identifying with it and participating with it, and changing who you are when it comes back into your life, because it will. You need your graduation, and continue to clean out any triggers, any confusion, any fear, any pain, Any negative, dense energy that comes up, keep letting it go with quantum tools. Keep bringing in the light, your higher self, which resets you into wisdom and power and self-honor, which means you honor everything in honorable ways. From your own empowerment, your own wisdom, and your own solid inner standing. This is the winning recipe. And this is why the quantum tools are so powerful with anything that hurts in your life, especially those pesky, painful, old, ingrained patterns that you may have felt like you've been doing your entire life, or maybe lifetimes. And many of us have. So I promise you that these patterns are not impossible to break out of, and you could even start getting free from them in the quantum way today. And that is the Thriver way to heal. So you may need to watch this video a few times to soak these 5 steps in and take some notes. It'll be a transcript on the blog as well. But ultimately, you have to apply them to get the true results. So I hope this helps. And if you like my videos, please remember to subscribe, hit the notification bell, and share them with other people so that they can know we have an ability to not just survive narcissistic abuse, but heal and thrive better than we ever were, even before it came into our lives, and even if it's all we've ever known. That's the Thriver way. And please know that all of my healing programs grant you the instructions with Quantum Freedom Healing to work these 5 steps. It's in all of my programs to change your life quickly and powerfully from the inside out, for real, at the core, beyond description. And you can see the link to my healing programs here. Okay, so until next one, keep smiling, keep healing, and keep thriving, because there is nothing else to do. All right, lots of love, everybody. Bye-bye.